Hey, this is Leo for Actualized.org, and in this quick self-help segment, in about 10 minutes, I am going to give you some practical tips on how to change careers. All right, how to change careers. This is actually something that I've done, and so I can resonate with what you're probably feeling if you're thinking about changing careers. It's a big, bold move, right? And you've invested so much time in your current career. Maybe you've invested a decade, maybe more, maybe just a few years. I invested only 1 year, and I was still feeling really sad about having to change. And for me, my story is that I was a video game designer. That's something that I wanted to be since I was a kid. And then when I ended up getting into that position, I got in a really good job as a game designer. But then what happened was that I wasn't really feeling it at that job, and for a multitude of reasons that I can't go into here that were pretty complex, I found out that that job was not right for me. It didn't really suit my strengths. It didn't suit my values, and it didn't really give me the kind of lifestyle that I wanted. And so what I did is I had to start my own business, and I found that that was what was right for me. But making that choice, I remember very vividly standing there, looking out the window in my apartment in Boston, and thinking about what it would mean if I left this job, because I knew that if I left that job, there was no coming back to this industry anymore. There was no coming back to this branch of my life. Literally, I felt like I was like a crossroads at my life, and I could go either one way or the other way, and I wasn't quite sure which way to go. And I knew that if I made the decision to transition out of game design, then, well, my life would be very, very different, for good or for bad, and I would have to really grow, and I was taking a pretty big risk, and I didn't know how it was going to play out. So I know where you're coming from is my bottom line point. But as far as some practical tips for how to change careers, I think in the end what you really got to do is get clear about what it is that you want out of life. Because once you're clear about that, then that kind of very challenging life decision that I just talked about becomes much easier. It's still challenging, but it becomes much easier because it takes away some of the uncertainty when you know what you really want. And for me, that means, number one, identifying your top 10 values. Figure out what are your top 10 values. And I talk about that in some other videos that I have where I go into it at length about how to do proper values identification. But you identify your top 10 values, and then that allows you to use that as kind of a rubric for making decisions against. So once you know your values, you can ask yourself, okay, so if I go with the status quo, with my current career, how well is that going to fulfill and align with my top values? Okay, and then you can kind of measure them and see and rank them and put numbers to them and see what comes out. Then you can go and see, okay, option B, how do I think that will align with my values? And even though you can't be completely sure, you can have a pretty good guess. And so that will help you. That will help make the choice in one way or the other. The other thing, so that's really important. The other thing is, of course, think about your life purpose. What is it that you want to accomplish in your life? What kind of impact do you want to have? If you're thinking about changing careers, then you're probably doing it for one of just a few reasons. One is because the line of work that you're in is not providing you with the kind of lifestyle that you want. That means it's not paying you enough. You don't feel well compensated. You don't feel like you have the freedom. You don't have the time. You don't have the maybe creative autonomy that you want there. And so you want to change in those circumstances. And then the other point, of course, is that you're not passionate about that line of work, and that you are thinking that there's something else that you're better aligned with. And what that is that's actually a really good sign when you're feeling that, even though it's scary in the moment. The reason you're feeling that is because your subconscious mind is telling you that your values are not being honored in your current job, right? So what that means is, for example, that if you're working in a 9-to-5 cubicle type of job, and you're sensing that maybe there's more to life, maybe you want to be out there and you want to do something a little bit more adventurous. Maybe you want to be working outdoors. Maybe you want to be working more with people. Maybe you want to be self-employed. Maybe you want to be a writer. Maybe you have some dream project that you want to be working on, right? If you got those things, but you're working this 9-to-5 cubicle job, then your mind is going to be telling you that it's going to be basically what's going to do is going to deliver pain to you, your subconscious mind. And it's going to deliver pain and resistance because what you're doing is going against those values. It's like you're going upstream. And what you want to be doing is you want to be going downstream. You want to go with the flow. And the flow we're talking about here are your values. And by values, I mean the things that are the most important and meaningful to you in life. Because on a subconscious level, you know that your life is short, and that if you're going to be putting hours and hours and hours of time into your career and into your job, you want some sort of payoff and you want some satisfaction from that. And you know deep down that you should be satisfied with your career because you are spending 40 hours a week there, maybe more if you're working at a high demand job. And that's going to be 40 hours a week. That's like 8 hours a day. That's most of your day. It's a good chunk of your waking time that you're spending at your job. So if you're not feeling satisfied and happy and feeling like you're being creative and you're getting everything you want out of your job, and it's not the right line of work for you, and you've just figured that out, or you're just starting to realize it, it's dawning on you, then you owe it to yourself to find something better, because your life and your career is going to be very long, and you do not want to be in that kind of jaded position where you hate your career and you're just going there for the paycheck and you hate everybody there, you don't like what you're doing, you hate the world. That's not a path that you want to go down. So you want to change that around, and you then do want to change careers. You got to think about this. You got to think about what the long-term payoffs are going to be, because in the short term, there's probably going to be a cost associated with changing careers, and that's why you're here and you're watching this video, because you're wondering, is it going to be worth the cost? What is the cost going to be? It's probably going to be a cost of maybe you're going to have to spend some time unemployed looking for a new job. Maybe you're going to have to spend some time retraining yourself. Maybe you need to go back to school to earn the credentials or education you need to go into the new career. Maybe you have some sort of dream career that you have been pondering going into, but you haven't really known how to go into it, or your financial situation has kind of been holding you to the one that you've been at right now. Or maybe your family has been pressuring you to stay on this career track when in fact you know that you really should be doing something more adventurous, something that's more you. And those are hard obstacles to go against, right? It's going to take some self-discovery. It's going to take some courage, really, and overcoming your fears and kind of standing up to them and standing up to maybe some obstacles in your life, whether it's money, whether it's friends or family, to make that shift. But what is going to be the long-term payoff of that? Even though there's going to be that initial cost, the long-term payoff is going to be that not only are you going to be more fulfilled, which is nice, but you're also going to be actually in a better position to earn more money. I know that for me, I have some triggers and limiting beliefs about money, even still after doing a lot of personal development work. And for me, that means that one way that I convince myself in these kind of situations is telling myself that when I'm doing what I'm really passionate with, when I make that alignment, it's not only just going to be for happiness and fulfillment's sake, it's going to be actually for money's sake. Because I know that maybe in the short run, the money is not going to be as great, or it's not going to give me a big boost of money. In the long run, I know that when I'm aligned with what I want to be doing and I have that passion there, that passion, even though it sounds abstract, it actually starts to manifest itself in very tangible ways. When you're more passionate, you're going to be interacting with people more. You're going to be more likely to go out there and grab the sale. You're going to inspire people with your enthusiasm. And then things are going to catch on for you and you're going to work harder. And in the end, because you like it, you're going to work it, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to produce a lot of value for other people, and then that value is worth something, and it's going to come back to you. But you kind of have to have the faith that that's going to happen, because if you're very skeptical and you're very pessimistic about it, then there's no way you're going to make that transition change. You're not going to be able to make that transition. You're going to be stuck here. And when you're stuck here, you know that you're stuck because you're succumbing to fears, right? You're really giving into your fears, and you're coming up with all sorts of rationalizations and justifications for why this is okay, for why mediocre is okay, for why not living your values is okay. And that's never okay. That's only okay for a certain period of time. So if you have some financial obligations, you have to pay off some bills, some credit cards, pay the electricity bill next month, then sure, I'm not saying that you go and quit your job right now and make a career transition. What you do is you stay there and you slowly work it. You don't have to transition immediately. And that's kind of what I did. Is I started my business while I was still working my 9-to-5 game design job. And it took me, I was pretty fortunate because I was able to get my business up within just 3 or 4 months. And then I was able to really spin it off. And then I was able to quit my job about 6 months after I intended to. So that was a pretty quick transition. But still, recognize it's 6 months. 6 months is still quite a lot of time. So you have to have a little bit of patience here. You have to say to yourself, okay, let's say I'm in this position and I'm kind of stuck here right now. I do need to pay my rent. I don't have too much saved up. Maybe I don't even know exactly what I'm going to be going into. I don't even know how that works. I don't know what kind of training I need. So what you got to do is you got to start the research process. First of all, get in touch with yourself. Get in touch with your values, what you really want out of life. Once you've got a clear picture of what you want, then say, is that what I've got right now? Or is there something better? Okay, if there's something better, where is it? Okay, it's over there. How can I transition from here to there? What would be the practical steps? And then start doing the research. This is not something that you can usually answer in the abstract. This might mean you have to buy some books. This might mean you have to do some research online, maybe watch some videos, maybe buy some training programs, and then go out there and start implementing this stuff. So if you need more training, go out there and get more training. And this might be a gradual process that you do while you're still doing your 9-to-5. Maybe you do this on the weekends. And then as you're building up and you're building up and building up, you're going to reach a point where you're going to feel confident enough and you're going to know that the other alternative is right for you and that you're trained for it, that you're going to be able to make the transition smooth. That's a lot better than just saying, you know what, I'm going to quit this job and go find a new one without knowing exactly how it's going to work. Because to make that kind of really radical break, first of all, that can get you into some financial trouble and just it can be a little bit of a rash move. But secondly, you need some time to discover what you really want. And there's actually probably some things at your job right now that are not quite as bad as they seem. So use your current job to keep yourself on track financially. Use your current job to keep your family on track, to do whatever you're doing. But then just start looking towards the future and then start making that transition gradually. You don't want to make a big break. Make it gradually, and then one day you'll feel confident enough to make the big break. All right, this is Leo. I'm going to sign it off here. Go ahead, post me some comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. I'm going to cover a career transition in a lot more detail in other video articles and also on Actualized.org. So post some comments here. Please like it. Please share it with your friends. That's why I publish this content for free. And then check out Actualized.org, where I really go into a lot of the more advanced strategies about how to develop self-awareness to really find your passion in life. That's what I'm passionate about, is how to find your passion, show you how to find it, show you how to get on track with it, and then how to stay on track with it. There's a lot of subtle pitfalls along in all those different parts of the process, and I want to help you figure all that out. So check out Actualized.org, subscribe to my newsletter for more free videos just like this.